I moved to North Carolina in 2014, I was 14 about to turn 15. I moved from Maryland and to be honest, my mom made me move. I wanted to stay as far away from the country as possible, but that sadly didn't work out for me. Anyway, for a bit of background, I am the youngest of 6. When I moved down to North Carolina it was just me and my sister who was left to finish school. I was a freshman and she was a senior in high school. She and I would never see each other during the day, but at the end of the school day we would have to wait at the bus lot for almost a half hour together for our bus to show. We were second load, which just meant that our bus would drop off some other kids and then come back to the school to pick us up to drive us home. I never had many friends when I moved there. I didn't like many of the kids as they just seemed too immature for me. I did befriend this one kid who rode my bus. I remember when him and I were walking to the bus lot and saw that my sister was talking to one of the teachers. I didn't find it too weird at the time because she and I were new and she may have just been curious about a few things around the school. On the bus she broke down and told me about this one kid in her math class that would stare at her and her friend. And not the look at you and then look away when you made eye contact type of stare. No, this was full-blown staring. She asked him to stop but he just pretended not to hear her. Eventually he stopped looking at her during period and she didn't press the issue any further. When she saw him at the bus lot that day, she immediately went to find the closest teacher so that he wouldn't bother her. I asked her if she would show me who it was and she replied with, "No, I don't want anyone to get in trouble. Let's just finish the rest of the year up and hopefully I won't ever have to see him again." So with that, we dropped the discussion. About a month later, around late April, I noticed my sister physically panicking in the bus lot. She told me that the kid keeps following her everywhere she went. She said that when she went to use the bathroom between classes that day, she saw him walk into the girls' bathroom and stand at the doorway for a minute before walking out, not saying a single word while she was in the stall. She also told me how he was hanging around her work one afternoon, but since she worked in a shopping mall, there wasn't much she could do except hide her face and hope he wouldn't bother her. But there is just one day that stood out to me the most out of all the weird encounters that she had with him. It was one of the last days of us having experiences with him. Which truthfully wasn't much, I can count the amount of them on one hand. My sister texted me during second period asking me to walk her to the remainder of her classes so that way the kid was less inclined to follow her, but even with me there, he still followed. As I was using the water fountain, she was using the bathroom when I heard a scream come from there. I ran there since I was the only one in the hall. As I ran in there, all I see is the kid pressing his face against the stall door. I screamed at him to leave and as he turned toward me, he just stared at me with this confused look on his face. Then it quickly turned to one that could kill me if looks could do so. And since this was the first time I saw him up close, I kind of took in the details of his face. His eyes seemed nearly lifeless as he drilled this evil glare into my face. His lips were as chapped as can be with him licking them every few seconds. He kept moving his fingers across both his arms as if he were scratching them because they were covered in chicken pox. Him staring at me felt like ages when out of nowhere his whole face changed and he looked as if he were truly scared. He apologized and quickly ran out of the bathroom. My sister emerged from the bathroom stall a few moments later in tears. I called our mom and told her what happened. She immediately left work to come pick us up from school early that day. The next day we went to the principal and reported him. He got a 3-day suspension for that incident and wasn't allowed to speak with my sister after that. He didn't get classes changed and the school refused to allow my sister to change hers, claiming that it was too late in the year or something like that. And after 2 weeks of no incidents happening, he simply vanished without a trace. After a few days of not seeing him around, I asked my friend, who knew the kid's dad since he worked for his hardware store, what happened to him. What he told me still sends shivers down my spine to this day. He told me, "You haven't heard?" I figured everyone around the whole city would have heard by now. He proceeds to say the following: the kid was found raping his little sister by his mom. The mom tried to stop him but the son beat her and raped her as well. When the dad came home later that night, he saw his wife and daughter crying in the room while the son was asleep in the bed. When the cops arrested him, all he told them was that he regretted not doing it to the girls in his math class. I honestly wish I never asked him that question. It still makes me want to throw up thinking that this could have happened to my sister had she not asked me to walk her to her classes that day. I was never the protective type before that, but now I don't hesitate when it comes to being weary with new people. Especially when it comes to those who clearly don't belong in society.